I think at the end of the day, you really, like if you're pointing one finger, then there's probably 5 dicks filled with cum pointing back at your water bottle.
Welcome back to Show Me Yours podcast. My name is Jackie Agnew.
I'm Johnny DeVito.
And thank you once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome.
Yes.
And why don't you hit that like button?
Would you?
Subscribe, comment.
Do it.
Follow us on Instagram.
That'd be nice.
On Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
And share us, tell us a little bit about yourself, why don't you?
That'd be nice. Open up a little bit.
Open up some dialogue.
Yeah, we want to know about you.
Yeah, and share us in your stories. Tell a friend, tell a family member. The holidays are coming up.
The holidays are coming up. Why not give the gift of us?
Give the gift of Show Me Yours.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, we'll send you some stickers.
That we will.
If you show us concrete evidence of you spreading the good word.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, we want to see doctor's reports, right? We want to see the tests come in. We want to see all of that good stuff. And then once we've confirmed that you're infected and you have infected others, then we'll send you some stuff.
Yeah. Mainly just stickers, unless you want some like really old.
Yeah, we got some shirts.
We got some
stuff
shirts.
kicking
We
around.
got some shirts and some select sizes and some posters.
All you XLs, keep looking.
Yeah.
Keep
I
looking
think it's
elsewhere.
mainly medium and large left. I think it might just be large actually.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Anyways,
go for my mid-sized fellas out there.
Yeah, and we have another great album to get into this week.
That we do.
That is relevant to the week that we've had.
Oh, is it ever?
But before that, we, of course, have some breaking news.
Of course we do.
To share with you guys today.
It really is. There's no better place to get your news than from Show Me Yours podcast, the number one place.
Most trusted news source.
Absolutely. And I mean, when stories like this rise to the surface, we need to be here, boots on the ground. You know what I mean?
This has us written all over it.
It really does.
Yeah.
Gross.
All right. Bay Area Ritz Carlton is being sued after a woman was allegedly served semen-contaminated water.
There's no better story.
Where I'm from, that's just called water.
Yeah, I was going to say. I personally don't know what the problem is here. If anything, like she was probably just looking on where to send the money to. You know what I mean? Like at some point, you're realizing that you're getting probably more than you bargained for, and at that point, just take it. You ever crack an egg and there's 2 yolks in there? Lucky day.
Yeah, I'm sure that sounds like a lucky day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is coming out of Half Moon Bay, California. Beautiful Half Moon Bay. What was supposed to be another luxurious stay at the Ritz Carlton turned nightmarish for one couple. Jane and John Doe of Washington State arrived at the oceanfront luxury Half Moon Bay Resort.
What is this accent?
This is my rich accent.
Yes, this is how all rich white people talk. Yes. I like it.
Arrived at the oceanfront luxury Half Moon Bay Resort for the weekend of November 18th, 2022 to visit the daughter attending a nearby university for the Thanksgiving holiday and to celebrate Jane's birthday. However, plans were significantly derailed after Jane had a sip of a Ritz Carlton branded water bottle that was contaminated with semen.
Now, this is the best part because you have to open the bottle of water that is, if it was contaminated, then I'm assuming that seal has been broken.
Exactly.
And after the first sip, you're like, wait a minute.
This is
come.
Yeah. Well, so it does go into her thought process here, which I'm very excited to get into. This is great journalism we have before us right now.
Finally.
Okay. Jane and John Doe are suing the $800 a night resort Ritz Carlton Hotel Company.
I love it. Keep going.
And Marriott International, along with unnamed defendants. The plaintiffs have not identified themselves in the lawsuit, claiming to avoid harassment, injury, ridicule, and public embarrassment. I mean,
I guess, but like, I mean, like, shout out to them for kind of for holding it down a little bit.
Yeah,
I guess. Now, is it from their side? They're going, this woman's obviously crazy.
So we'll get into this whole thing here. So, however, it's not only the plaintiffs' identities that are unknown. According to the lawsuit, at least 10 defendants are unidentified because the hotel company allegedly refuses to identify employees present that weekend to the couple and local law enforcement.
I mean,
they're protecting their people.
I've worked for some bad employers. You know what I mean? Usually this is a point where somebody's getting sewered here. We're going to throw somebody down.
Yeah.
Somebody's taking the heat.
This is the mark of standard from the Ritz Carlton here.
Somebody's taking the heat for this. Somebody's taking the shot, I guess, for this one.
The lawsuit alleges the visit began normally. The couple was properly greeted when they arrived for the stay. Nothing amiss, thank God. On the night, what does a proper greeting entail at a Ritz Carlton?
Well, as long as there's not cum in the water bottle, I guess. But
okay, so I'm picturing you drive up to the Ritz, right?
We walk past a Ritz.
We walk past a Ritz
every day here,
There's one right down the street.
So it seems there's valet service.
Exactly, they greet them at the car.
There's that guy outside
they help
all the
their
time.
Bags out, white gloves. Yes, they bring the bags up to their room.
They but I do have to say the Ritz Carlton in Montreal, significantly smaller carpet.
Yes.
Outside,
So this is an ongoing issue that I have with the Ritz Carlton here, because when we first arrived, and it was actually still quite nice out.
Beautiful.
And they had this huge carpet outside of the Ritz that spanned the whole sidewalk.
It's like a basketball court, like it's massive.
Yeah, and so, which is nice, you don't want any like accidents to happen, when you get out of the car. Perhaps it was a long journey. You don't want the first thing, when you first step onto like a slippery sidewalk, you're not bracing yourself yet because you haven't been walking on it.
No,
so you don't want people
to see 100,000 thread count Ritz Carlton gold crown staring at you.
However, the second that it got cold and to a temperature that an icy sidewalk is a significant risk, that carpet all of a sudden was downsized to a carpet that is, I would say, about a tenth of the size of the carpet that was previously
I
there.
wouldn't even call it a carpet, a runner.
It's a runner now, and which is like, if I'm paying $800 a night for a Ritz Carlton experience, and I step out of the car and there is a runner in front of the door. I'm not even stepping. I have to step my foot onto a raw sidewalk for $800 a night.
And there's no cum in a water bottle already? I mean, there better be cummy water bottle in your hand and a good carpet every time I get to Ritz Carlton.
So that's that, but apparently maybe there was a big carpet because they were greeted properly.
Yes.
As the records state.
Yes, absolutely.
So on the night of November 18th, the couple realized they were out of water and called the front desk for some more, because you have to call for bottled water, of course.
Oh, yes, clearly. Makes sense.
Moments later, a male employee arrived with at least 5 bottles and, quote, had no reason to believe the bottles were, quote, tampered with and defiled. Jane went to sleep and woke up in the middle of the night and reached for a bottle. According to her, she knew something was wrong and alerted hotel security and management. So this is first sip. First sip in, Jane is alerting security and management. She said the water's taste and texture were off, and she initially thought it was a chemical contamination before she started to suspect it was semen. So I'm so curious about Jane's life experience.
That's like I think that's number one. We need to dive back into Jane's backstory here, because at first, like, it was chemical contamination. I understand alerting the authorities for that, but then once you find out it's cum, the only thing you can say is thank you.
But not find out it's cum, have a strong suspicion that it must be cum. So here's my this is not the first time she has had cum spiked water.
No.
If that, like, if I am drinking from a bottle of water and the taste is off, I understand, like, you would taste that immediately. Texture, never once have I noted the texture of water.
Well, that's because you haven't had an oyster of cum floating on the surface of it that would probably go back and coat your tongue and your throat. You know what I mean? This is jizz we're talking.
Well, so it's
what's for dinner.
But okay, so this is what I'm saying is that, so if I'm putting myself in Jane Doe's shoes right now, and so I'm staying at the Ritz, $800 a night. I've been greeted to up to my standard. I have at least 5 water bottles on hand.
Yes.
Per my request. and wake up in the middle of the night, in luxurious sheets.
Sure.
Wake up and reach for the Ritz Carlton brand water bottle. So would Ritz means quality.
Oh,
and
absolutely,
comfort.
absolutely.
And
Like
so,
it was like Ritz bottled water, Fiji. You know what I mean? And then every other bullshit thing down. Yes.
And so I twist the cap. Now maybe if I was half asleep, I wouldn't take note of the fact that you don't get the snap of the seal being released.
Oh no! If I don't get that snap, I'm not drinking it.
Yeah, exactly. I really think I would take note of that, but maybe rich people have other things to think about.
Like the cum content of said bottled water.
But if I take a sip and it tastes weird, and I'm noticing like a weird, seems like there's something in this water, I would go through, and I'm staying at the Ritz. I would go through so many other possibilities before I landed on seeing it. It's low.
It's very low. Okay.
In that context, if I'm at like one of the motels that we stayed at, coming to this great land, I would be like, that's definitely cum. That'd be. It wouldn't even be a question. I'd be like, okay, cum.
Definitely.
Moving on.
Yeah.
But if I'm at the Ritz, cum is really low on that list.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Like you're thinking, but like I mean, it's not necessarily even like a pleasant. It's not like it's rice-a-roni. This is the San Francisco treat we're talking here. This is jizz.
This
100. A hot load, a skate lace, if you will.
I mean, it's a cold load at this point. It's been in. Okay, so it's in water. So that like how if you put like liquid in cold water.
Oh, I know exactly. We're talking about the coagulation of cum right now. I know, babe. You're talking to a kid right now that's been doing nothing but hiding loads for like 20 years. You know what I mean, right? Like, so you really got to get that out of there. It's a sticky, viscous material that like that's the thing too, because if you're gonna nut into a bottle,
how much of it was it in there?
That's a great question. We have to talk about all of these things right now. So
was it just like one bottle too? Is this like a Survivor advantage scenario?
Exactly.
Like we're in the middle of a Survivor episode right now where there's an advantage in a chip bag, and so they've all won this reward, and there's say 5 identical chip bags, and she just happens to get lucky and pick the one that has the advantage in it. It could have been any of them. So is this
exactly the same scenario?
Okay.
Precisely the exact same scenario is what we're talking about right here, but with common rich people, right? So every rich person should know that the help hates you, and there's just a matter of time that you're probably going to ingest a little bit of cum without your knowledge. Right?
Oh, yeah, that's a given,
Right? That's your trade-off for having $1 million, whatever the case, right? So
comes with a little bit of
comes with cum.
Inconsensual cum.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right? You know what I mean?
Not in like
not in a
terrible way,
no,
but like
just
in a might slip into your water every now and
in a Fight Clubby kind of like we're gonna stick it to the man without him knowing, and we can still keep our job, kind of way, right? So, in this sense, now the think about a water bottle itself. Now the cap of it, pretty thin diameter.
Yes.
You're not fitting your entire cock into this thing, so you are just pressing the tip up to.
Yeah, this is like an effort to do this.
This is an effort. Yeah. Or if you're not a shooter, then maybe you're dribbling on the side or something like that. So you're kind of scooping it onto your hand and then kind of manipulating it into the top of the bottle. And this is
someone doing this that's wearing like a Ritz Carlton uniform, like white gloves on.
I'm assuming a little red hat. You know what I mean? Almost looks like a fez, right?
Yeah, like a Grand Budapest.
Totally. Yeah. They wear like ancient war outfits for whatever reason. You know what I mean? For no reason at all. Yeah. Like they look like an old British guy before they invented guns.
Sure.
So basically, what you have here is the extraction process or whatever. I'm saying it's not impossible to get cum into a water bottle.
Clearly not.
What it is impossible to do, I think, is just to like shake it up and leave it amongst other water bottles that clearly don't have cum in them.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's crazy that they wouldn't have noticed something immediately, but which leads me to question, what do these water bottles look like? Is this like do they have like some sort of label on them that's like a full wrap, like a wrap on a bus kind of situation where you can't even see in the bottle?
Yeah, like those Prime, like energy drinks or whatever. You could get 5-6 loads in there, have no one
because you can't actually see. But if it was like a water bottle that just has like those thin, strip of logo around the middle of the bottle, then that would be so
you're
obvious.
Not sneaking a load in an Aquafina past me or something, right? But maybe like I wonder even if in a Dasani blue bottle situation, you might get away with a little bit of cum in the water bottle.
Of course.
Now, what we have here. Ooh, okay. So the Ritz Carlton water bottle here, according to Google, is basically
no, it's
just
the thin strip. It's a thin strip. Yep.
This is
so
a glorified.
You can see
this is
right
a Nestle.
into.
This is just other branded.
I will. Yeah. This is so. I'll post a. We'll put a photo up for those who are watching. But basically, yeah. I mean, clearly, obviously, Ritz Carlton isn't themselves producing their own water. This literally looks like a Kirkland water bottle that just has a Ritz Carlton logo on it.
For sure. But, so like now begs the question, I think.
So how do you miss that?
Well, no, this is interesting because if there is cum in that bottle and if it could sneak in there, then I think what you have to do is have a little bit on your hand and rub it around like the lips of it or whatever and put the top back on. Yeah. So it's almost like you're rimming the glass like a Caesar or a Bloody Mary where it's just rimmed with cum rather than an entire load.
Like the floater in it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because like I've said like an oyster before, there's nothing really that you can like equate it to other than literally like a snot rocket or a booger. Yeah. It's its own thing, you know what I mean? It's its own mass once it enters the water, and it has a chance to either settle at the bottom, or has to stay around the top, right?
I mean, either way, like if you're okay, so this is where we get into
where have I put cum?
This is where we get into the class discussion because like if I'm always before, especially like in a water, like I'm always doing, at least consciously or not, some sort of preliminary inspection
for cum.
For cum specifically, but really for any sort of contaminants. If I'm staying at a hotel, and I'm using like I'm always like aware that something might not be right, you might not be entirely clean. If I'm being handed a water bottle, again, like the seal being broken, like that's immediately like do not drink from that water.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like rich people are so, especially if you're staying at a Ritz. So Ritz Carlton, that's like a level. That's the upper echelon, right?
It's a level I've never achieved.
$800 a night.
I've never even walked into a lobby of a Ritz Carlton.
Right, and it's like I've stayed at nice hotels before, like. But never Ritz Carlton level.
No, that's why. But I do feel like somebody could have like a bone to pick with the rich or something like that. Where something like this could happen.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that if you're the type of person who's staying at a Ritz Carlton, traveling to stay at, they're coming from Washington to California.
Got a couple bucks.
So these are people who are used to being catered to. They don't, they're not checking for things themselves. They're used to just everything being set out and ready to go.
They shouldn't have to. Yes, if they take a sip of the.
I mean, there's so many angles here because on the one hand you're like, this is hilarious, but on the other hand you're like, if I'm paying $800 a night for this place and I take a sip of cummy water, I'm fucking suing the place too.
No, I get it. Like I would be beside myself with so much anger and confusion, but at the same time, like there is but I mean, in my heart of hearts, I want to try to find the good.
I mean,
in every story,
you always have to empathize with the anyone in working in a customer facing position. For sure. Any story where I hear of like
domestic terrorism,
if I hear of like if people are like complaining about their servers at a restaurant or anything like that,
server gets a pass 100%
always
of the time.
empathize because you deal with the worst people, and I'm sure working at the Ritz is. You deal with the absolute worst of humanity. Yeah. But that is not an
I don't condone, yeah. That's even a far...
There's other ways to deal with it.
Even
just
for me,
like a spit in the water bottle. Yeah. Like, that's way... it's like
that's the thing, is that, like, coming in the water bottle, like...
Like, that's an extra. Because you hear, like, of people fucking, like... none of the places I worked at ever did like spitting in the food or anything like that. Yeah, but like, I mean, you hear people
but we
say
talked
that.
About it.
You know exactly. What I mean? You would make jokes about it, but you would do little things to piss people off. But never was somebody like, I'm just gonna go to the walk-in real quick with this person's beverage. No. Okay. So Jane thought it was chemical contamination before she started to suspect it was semen, and this would later be confirmed on January 12th, 2023, after a claim adjuster told the couple over the phone that the water was defiled with semen. So I guess they tested the water or whatever. They found out 2 months later that it was in fact semen. So her hunch turned out to be right, which I understand why they're not naming her specifically, but Jane Doe, if you are listening, I have so many questions and I really would like to have a one-on-one with you. But the lawsuit claims one of the hotel's
I'll bring the water.
Yeah, the lawsuit claims one of the hotel's employees ejaculated his semen into a Ritz Carlton labeled water bottle, delivered it to Jane and John Doe's room, and Jane then drank the semen contaminated water before she realized it had been defiled by a criminal deviant and she had been sexually assaulted. I understand that you would feel extremely violated in that scenario, and it probably, if we're doing dictionary definition of sexual assault, I think this would definitely fall under it. But just reading it like in this context, I'm like, come on, man.
I'm glad you said it. I'm not gonna fucking touch that with a 10-foot pole. That's not up for me to say.
It's like, you can't take a joke. No, I'm kidding. Like, I would be horrified.
That's my girl, of course.
But I don't know if I would qualify it as sexual assault.
I don't know.
That's not for me to decide. That's her experience, not mine.
You know, right? Some people can't take a joke. Some people
criminal
can't take
deviant
a
is a great term to use as well.
Criminal deviant sums it up perfect. Like,
I mean, which is again technically true, but in my mind, this is just like a kid that's like dealt with too many. Like maybe okay.
I love if we were on the meta, or we were on the if you were the lawyer and I was the judge, you got to be like, come on, and I'd be like, you get out of here, you little rascal.
I'd be like, you're definitely like you're winning the lawsuit, but let's fucking relax.
Let's take it easy.
Let's recognize the humor in the
situation. Let's all agree this kid is hilarious.
So what led? So I'm wondering now, as we're talking about this, is what are these two? So did this happen the first night that they arrived?
I believe so.
Okay, so what interaction did this couple have with this?
So hard.
Right? Like, these must be some real fucking assholes to have someone, because you don't do that unless you truly are like a psychopath, like criminal deviant that the Ritz somehow hired, which I assume they have a pretty rigorous hiring process. Like, they probably.
I'm sure it's easier to get a job at a Best Western than it is a Ritz Carlton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so what do you have to do to piss someone off that much, to go to that extreme? I'm not victim blaming here, but like,
I mean,
they were probably like kind of shitty.
What was she wearing? That's terrible. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, you really, if you're pointing one finger, then there's probably 5 dicks filled with cum pointing back at your water bottle. I think that is the number one takeaway that we can have from this story.
Yeah. The couple says that they have asked the resort to turn over the water bottle. Who have allegedly refused to do so. Additionally, they
already have the bottle? Isn't that how they tested it?
Well, the couple themselves are not in possession of the bottle. I would assume that the hotel had to turn over the bottle for testing, or the what was inside the bottle for testing.
And then the police returned it to them.
I would assume so.
Who's giving the bottle back?
Yeah,
I love that there's a Marriott employee that had to go pick up somebody has to cover this up. The Marriott has a cover up guy that needs to get the cum bottle and destroy it. It is awesome. This is the movie.
Additionally, they say the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office's investigation has stalled because the Ritz Carlton and Marriott International won't cooperate with them in turning over the bottle. Okay, so the police don't even have possession of the bottle. KTVU reached out to the San Mateo
bottle
County.
Game. What happened to the bottle?
Yeah, where's the bottle? Reached out to San Mateo County Sheriff's Office and is waiting comment. The pair said they want law enforcement to do their own analysis and have DNA samples from the semen to be cross-referenced against sex offender registries to identify the subject. They also want Marriott International and Ritz Carlton's hiring practices to be scrutinized, saying because of their negligence, a quote, again, criminal deviant was able to sexually assault Jane Doe. Defendants acted wrongfully, maliciously, intentionally, and negligently, the lawsuit says, accusing the company of refusing to accept responsibility for the incident. The couple says that they have been loyal customers to the Marriott company. So this isn't their first Ritz day, and have even stayed at this resort in the past with no problems relating to safety or safety, security, or services, and I would add semen. They travel frequently for both pleasure and business and often stay at Marriott-branded hotels during their travels. They've been married for 25 years and say this incident has caused intimacy issues. Oh, and they're married. Okay, that makes me sad. The couple claimed they were given Marriott points.
They can't bang anymore because she drank some cum?
Or it's just like affecting her.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, okay, so what do you think? Okay, so I'll play devil's advocate on maybe they are the worst type of people. Now, it says that they have a 25-year history with each other and also the Marriott company and all their travels and extensive stays with this company over a long time. Would it be safe to assume that they were fucked over previously on a stay, and then this is all the husband's jizz, and that this is just an elaborate ruse that they've set up together to either defraud, defame, you know what I mean, and, you know, grab a little bit of cash from the Ritz Carlton and Marriott company and all subsidiaries?
I mean, anything is possible at this point. If the Ritz is not cooperating with police, I mean, then
if the Ritz isn't cooperating, it looks bad.
It seems like they have something to hide at this point. Because
really
why wouldn't they hand over the bottle?
Well, because they're not thinking it's husband's jizz. We need to test if it's the husband's jizz.
Okay, well,
before this investigation goes any
if
further,
confirmed that this is jizz. Presumably, they have the DNA.
Give me a straw.
Yeah,
I'll figure this out. We'll do it by taste.
Yeah, I mean, so this is actually quite a complicated story because on one hand, I do feel bad for her. If this is affecting and she feels that she's been like truly violated in that way.
Yeah, I don't.
Then that's terrible. But on the other hand, they might still be shitty people.
Yeah, on the other hand, it's still really
they probably
funny.
did something that triggered. I mean, no one does this. Just like, I mean, unless this is like
like the Hulk Hogan. This is the karma. You ever see Hulk Hogan? Like, Hulk Hogan's son was like drinking and driving and killed his friend in the accident.
Oh yeah.
And basically, while he was in jail, Hulk Hogan is like talking to his son over the phone, and all those conversations are recorded. And Hulk's like, you know, basically, like he was basically saying that his buddy had done something, you know, karmically with God that he had to pay for, and that's why, you know, like his son was in a way just a messenger of God by killing his fucking friend. It's pretty wild. He didn't say it as eloquently as I did.
I mean, like
it's
a little seems less extreme than someone dying, but like again, like because it's easy because of the content of the story to laugh about it and be like, if that were me, I would for sure try and get some money out of it, but I don't know if I would be. Maybe I would be super upset. I mean, like I would definitely.
Swish?
No, I would definitely be like grossed out, but I feel like I would mainly just like want like to get some money out of it or whatever.
Sure.
Like I don't know if I would feel like super violated.
I would say that I would say,
but again,
as
like,
much as I would say that it's causing marital issues, I would say that it's I would say everything to secure the bag, and then after I'd be like, yeah, well, you know, crazy things happen.
But again, like that's I don't want to comment on her experience. Whatever she's feeling is valid.
Sure.
But there's just so much going on here, like the class warfare, the cum, the vast amounts of cum.
The story has everything. When it comes to cum in class warfare, show me yours will be there on the front lines.
Yeah.
Here to talk about it with our ponchos on.
We will certainly stay updated on this story.
Yeah, definitely. Covered in jizz. As we are, speaking of staying updated on a story.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll go into this story. So, yeah, we always say we're going to stick with stories. But oftentimes that doesn't pan out.
I would say we rarely do, but that's because
sometimes we have. Sometimes
I
we
think they just need to come back into our ether.
Exactly.
I mean,
like I'm always out there looking for stories. So if they exactly make headlines again, if there's an update, then I will hopefully.
Yeah, that big
hear
goldfish
about it.
fucking dead. We haven't heard from him in years.
Carrot
but
is
this
gone.
Guy, Carrot's gone. This guy, Hans is back.
Yeah. So longtime listeners. We'll know that a little while back we covered a story about a chess player who allegedly won a huge game through anal beads.
He got beads in his butt.
And so and this made headlines worldwide. And so now he is fighting these, and he's, quote, poo-pooing these allegations. So Hands Niemann poo-poos a chess cheating theory that's based on vibrating beads. Chess prodigy Hands Niemann says he is unfazed perspicacious and composed as he competes.
Those are three words that don't go together. I feel like I don't know anything.
As he competes in the World Junior Chess Championship. But Niemann is also answering questions about an improbable method of cheating 1 year after controversy took place over the chess world. Wow, so it's been a year since we broke this story.
We're out here.
Yeah. Have you ever used anal beads while playing chess? Piers Morgan asked Niemann on Monday's episode of his talk show. Quote, your curiosity is a bit concerning. You know, maybe you're personally interested, Niemann replied as Morgan persisted and asked him about the bizarre idea. Quote, but I can tell you no. So to me, that reads, this man is guilty.
Hold on. I think Piers Morgan is a fucking asshole. And
No. Let's be clear. I detest Piers Morgan.
Okay.
But I'm saying the way he answered with turning it back on him, to me that screams this guy had
he hit
anal
you with an
beads.
I know you are, but what am I kind of thing?
No, he hit him with a that's kind of weird that you would be thinking about me having anal beads. What does that say about you?
Yeah, I'm rubber, you're glue.
Yeah,
he went with the classic I'm rubber, you're glue.
He tried to turn into like a commentary on Pierce's like personal interest in anal beads being up his own ass. Which is like a funny comeback.
Which is crazy because
yeah.
everybody nobody cares about anal beads up anybody else's ass except for this particular guy. Hans Niemann is the only person I care about.
This is
with a history of any anal beads
that I have a vested interest in.
100%.
Yeah.
So now I do think though, like this is the story, the part of the story that I think we might have touched on a year ago that still kind of sticks with me, is that the kid is young and he's kind of like an unlikely hero in the chess world.
Right. Yes, right.
Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen, yeah.
Magnus Carlsen is
five-time
like
world champion.
He's a fucking master, right? So
of
it's
course,
almost
we
to
all
the
know
point
Magnus.
where it's so preposterous to think that this kid could even, fart on Magnus's candle, never mind beat him in a chess match, that they have to go to the lengths of, well, how could he cheat? Right. And then really what it comes to, they kind of developed this theory of anal beads and like an elaborate, Morse code kind of situation of him, figuring out how to cheat. It's the most elaborate cheating method that they could possibly think of. And if they think that this kid is so stupid that he could never beat Magnus Carlsen in the first place, how could he potentially be brilliant enough, to use this technology to trump chess master? I do think that this is that kind of I've been underestimated in my life, right? And it kind of does fuel the fire a little bit, right? Like if you say that you can't do something, then there's nothing better than kind of turning that back on the naysayers and shoving it in their face and be like, fuck you, I can. Yeah. The best part is that in my heart of hearts, I want to believe that this kid has never even put anything in his butt.
Of course, and it's the theory is so ridiculous, and the fact that it caught headlines is hilarious. But so what I'm thinking is that this has the possibility to revolutionize chess as we know it. Because
I'm listening.
Did you ever watch The Queen's Gambit?
No.
It's a great series on Netflix, but
there's no butt stuff. I heard
no butt stuff. Okay. But the name The Queen's Gambit, of course, is based on it comes from the chess move called The Queen's Gambit. Right, all these chess moves have different names.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking that this could become like a chess move in itself. The King's Gamble.
The King's Okay, I'm listening.
Wherein you put anal beads you insert anal beads into yourself, and your moves are communicated to you via an app and vibrating technology, and this could just be like leveling up the game of chess, the same way that we see like we know in fucking bodybuilding everyone's on drugs, right?
Sure.
And then to the point where it's like there's even like separate categories for like natural bodybuilding.
Yes.
Like people who aren't on drugs.
Yeah.
Versus like just the fucking free for all, right?
Versus anal beads.
So that kind of brings the sport to a new level. In the same way we see with so many other sports that it isn't sanctioned, like cycling, like literally any sport,
Yeah.
But so this could be the next step in the evolution of chess, and perhaps bring a whole new type of player to the game.
I need to know really quick right now, do you think that just the act of him having vibrating anal beads in his butt makes him better at chess?
I mean, in this context, he beat Magnus.
It's very important that I explain this next part to you. What they were saying is that he had a third party in the crowd watching the game.
I
so
know.
Then you're saying that there should just be cheaters in
That's
every.
That's literally the same thing that you could say for people that take drugs to evolutionize their ability to compete in sports. That's what I'm saying. Is that it's a parallel. That's what the way if someone
but it's just
is
being
caught,
done in real time.
But if someone is caught, but it's done in real time. If say in cycling, of course we all know Lance Armstrong.
I would consider that preemptive cheating. You know what I mean in that sense.
But is shoving anal beads up your asshole before the game not preemptive?
Shoving anal beads up your asshole before the game is almost necessary at my age.
That's by definition preemptive.
That is definitely preemptive.
And so I'm just saying it's a parallel in the same way.
But then wouldn't it just be okay, so then that's essentially what you're saying is you could just get two computers to play chess with each other. And what you're doing is going this long way around where two human beings have anal beads in their butt, and then each of their person is just going off of all these moves and asking a computer what to do, and then another computer is telling the other competitor what to do. So essentially, it's just two computers playing each other.
Yeah, through meat puppets.
Through me. I love this. I think I'm on board now. I'm all of a sudden on board. When the robots take over.
This will be...
No, we're going to be like, how are we going to be punished by our robot overlords? And we're going to be sent into a room together, and they're just going to put a chessboard down. And then they're going to give us anal beats, and they're going to be like, okay, it's probably going to take you guys like a couple days to figure out what vibrations mean what. You know what I mean? Just to make this fun.
That's the other hilarious thing about this story is that they would have had to come up with a whole alphabet for what vibrations mean what.
Not only an alphabet, a numerical system as well, because it's you know what I mean, like the grid, being
king to knight to
N1
so
you would need to have three separate. It would need to be the piece, you know what I mean, and then a letter and a number, and by then I'm coming. You know what I mean? Like I think like at some point.
Again, I feel like we went over all of this when we did the story, but that is also like how if he had anal beads going this whole time, periodic patterns.
Knights of Queens 3. I love it. Okay.
A theory came up repeatedly during the nearly 20-minute interview in which Niemann spoke directly about cheating allegations against him. His recently resolved lawsuit against 5-time world champion. So they took this to court, Magnus Carlsen and the Chess.com website in his attempts to move on after making mistakes. The bead theory was amplified by Elon Musk. Of course it was. Drama erupted in Elite Chess last September when Carlsen named Niemann a cheater after losing to him. Niemann says his victory was fair and square.
It sounds like Magnus is a little bit of a bitch.
I agree. Online,
you ruined this kid's life. If this kid's never touched his butthole, Magnus ruined his life. I just got to say.
Online, the drama generated slews of what-if theories as chess players and fans debated whether and how it might be possible for a player to cheat during in-person or, quote, over-the-board games. So I love that. I love the terminology and slang.
Spicy journalistic terminology.
No. In different like sports and
lines
gaming,
in, take it to the felt,
take it to the felt. Yep. Over the board. I mean, I love specific slang that is used in niche like sports and gaming
for sure.
competitions.
Basketball's got great ones like Crash the Glass or fucking, you know what I mean? Fucking in the paint, held in the paint's good stuff, right?
So some discussed a buzzer that could fit into a shoe. So that was like, no.
No, it's in his ass.
No. It must be in his ass.
But fuck out of here with that bullshit theory. This thing is definitely in his ass.
Anal beads that could vibrate via remote command to guide a player's moves. The bead theory came from chess commentator Eric Hansen. So this is like a qualified commentator that came up.
You know what's interesting is that if it was a bead system and you could feel like, okay, the deep one is rattling, so that means this.
I mean, Eric Hansen clearly is no stranger to anal beads because he was like, I mean, you know what it could be.
I think again, like it's hard to go out over this without like rehashing the stuff that we've probably already said, but it's the classic, theory is who's the first guy to say it.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, and we're all thinking it.
He's
And then
like,
it's
man,
like one of
I've
those,
rigged this up. I have a prototype at the house.
So this was then picked up by Elon Musk in a since deleted tweet. That brings us to Piers Morgan, who did his best to get to the bottom of it all. Quote, obviously it's very disheartening to be accused of cheating after that victory over Carlson, Niemann said of the allegation, as Morgan pressed for more answers about anal beads. The young chess grandmaster added, that is not a serious theory. That was something that was taken out of context and was never a serious thing. This month, Niemann, 20, entered the World Junior Chess Championship with the tournament's top ranking. Worldwide, he's currently ranked at number 69. Hey. I mean,
With
if
a
you're,
bullet.
he's gonna. If anyone is gonna put anal beads in their ass to win, it's the player who's ranked number 69.
Is he just the bad boy? Is he just the freak of chess? He's just out there doing what all the other chess players are afraid to do with his spotlight, with all he's got on the line, all of his endorsements. So might go up and smoke. He's out here playing with beads.
Yeah.
He's got beads in his
So
butt.
Niemann has admitted to cheating during online chess games twice when he was 12 and 16 years old. Niemann insists he hasn't cheated since and never in an over-the-board game. Last year, Chess.com released a report accusing him of cheating in more than 100 games, an accusation Niemann says is unfounded. You never admit to that. When you're, because if you're 12 and 16, of course you're cheating. You're playing online chess games, of course you're cheating. But now you're a professional chess player, you never admit to that.
Yeah,
Because no matter what you do, you will never outrun that perception of
that
you.
allegation. Well,
That's
it's similar.
like,
it's similar.
yeah.
As soon as somebody accuses you of having beads in your butt, you're never gonna outrun
He's
that
always
either.
gonna be the
Right?
butt
He's
bead
always
guy,
gonna be the
yeah.
butt bead guy who's
Yeah.
an admitted cheater.
Yeah, the butt bead baddie.
He's got beads in his butt.
But yeah, he should never have admitted to that because now he's always going to be the cheater.
Got beads.
In a sport long associated with the young prodigy, suspicions have spread beyond Niemann's case. Consider former world champion Vladimir Kramnik's recent announcement that he will no longer play matches on Chess.com.
Like Kramnik's? He's too busy cramming fucking anal beads in his butt?
There were just too many obvious cheaters here, and nothing is done to clean the platform from these small crooks. 1 week before Kramnik made those comments, he lost 2 games to Niemann. But Niemann knows that Kramnik didn't single him out, and he says he has proven himself in the past year. In over-the-board tournaments, I have continued to play chess at a very, very high level, he told Piers Morgan. When Niemann's $100 million lawsuit was resolved, Chess.com issued a statement saying that while it stands by its report on Niemann from last October, it also reiterated we found no determinative evidence that he has cheated in any in-person games. Carlson also seemed ready to move forward, stating, I'm willing to play Niemann in future events should we be paired together. Niemann also says Carlson and others tried to bully him. He also says he's ready to play the Norwegian again if and when they're matched against each other in a tournament. You know, it's not going to be the last time that I beat him, Niemann said during the interview with Morgan. So I'm so torn on this guy because on one hand, I'm like, this guy, like, they've already counted him out. There's all these allegations. Everyone is rooting against him. And on the other hand, I'm like, they could be right.
Well, 100% they could be right. I think that this is why this is such an important story to follow and to continue following is because he's never going to outshine that. Okay, so if he goes up against Carlson and just gets shellacked time and time again, then yeah, he had beads in his butt.
Yeah.
Okay, but if he goes up against Carlson and continues to win,
then he has beads in his butt. It's a catch-22.
It's a catch-22. But what I'm saying is that if this guy, if he's the first chess player that gets to, like, if they do like a sting operation or whatever, no security until the final match, and then at the very end when they like World Series of Poker, they bring out all the cash to the table and stuff like that, and then they're like, okay, here, Eduardo, before you take this fucking cash home, drop your fucking drawers, and then they make him squat and cough, and if he squats and coughs and nothing comes out of his butt, he keeps the money. But if he's got beads in his butt, then I mean, throw the book at him. Throw the beads at him.
You throw the beads at him.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
beads.
this is it continues to be an excellent story, riveting. And I hope this time next year we get another update.
Absolutely.
I hope.
Absolutely.
I truly, in my heart of hearts, I hope that him and Carlson face off against, and that he beats him, and that it kind of puts these rumors to rest. But
well, I'm hoping I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this news is coming back up because this world championship is happening again. So I'm assuming that I'm assuming that within the next few months here we'll have we'll know.
I truly I'm rooting for him.
Absolutely.
But, you know. Okay, we have
beads in our butt.
okay, let's do this one. So, I mean, we are no stranger to talking about the housing market, right? I think we've
I think we've got our finger on the pulse and butt.
Well, I think we've covered this many times. We
Sure.
talk about how expensive things are, especially in Vancouver, but really anywhere. People in our generation cannot afford to buy homes. They can barely afford to rent homes, even working multiple full-time jobs.
Oh, yeah.
It's just fucking insane. And so
You're probably listening to this right now on your couch in your basement suite, you fucking loser.
yeah.
Us too.
Yeah. So a luxury California home complete with a meth lab and contamination is selling for $1.55 million.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Well, how often do you get a turnkey operation when you buy a house? Usually, like, you know what I mean, a house, whether it's like an asset or a liability, you know what I mean, you know, you would really want to acquire an asset, I think, if you're building a portfolio.
So they're calling this a luxury home, but do you see this picture right here?
Well, babe, that's the fucking problem. I mean,
that is not a luxury home by any definition.
To me, it kind of is.
I mean, like, obviously, I mean in the.
I think it's pretty close to its neighbor.
No. So I mean, in the context of California real estate, we're talking Hollywood. We're talking some of the richest people on earth. We're talking selling Sunset. Yeah. If you're talking about California real estate and you say luxury home. This is not what I'm picturing.
Looks like a nice 5-6 bed.
It looks no. But I would love any house, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the context of LA real estate.
Yeah. Okay. No, I agree. I agree. But it's in San Jose.
But again, it starts. But again, this is all a comment. This is all a commentary on the housing market.
For San Jose, this is the Bay Area. That's not even Los Angeles.
Now is your chance to own a luxury California home, complete with meth lab and meth contamination, for sale at $1.55 million. The 6-bedroom house in San Jose offers a great location with easy access to the freeway. So this is right off the highway.
Yeah, this sucks. No wonder they're cooking fucking meth in this neighborhood.
Easy access to the freeway.
I love that if you're not in California too, like, I'm not a fucking Californian by any means, but I got a lot of friends down there. You know what I mean? It's been a few years, but we spent a little time down there, and like San Jose is so not Los Angeles.
Yeah, right. And
I'll go out on a limb. I'll say 6-hour drive, 7-hour drive.
But you have easy access to the freeway.
Oh, good.
According to a realtor's listing, which notes it affords more than 2,700 square feet of living space. That's great. That might appeal to anyone needing an easy commute to Silicon Valley. With Apple's Cupertino campus just 20 minutes drive. Okay, so we're right in, you know, this is great for tech guys, startups.
Sure.
Are you looking for your phone?
I was looking for a third beer, but I didn't bring a beer. So.
You can go. I'll continue. that might appeal to anyone. Can you want to give me a little refill? That might appeal to anyone needing an easy commute into Silicon Valley, with Apple's Cupertino campus just 20 minutes drive and Google's Mountain View home less than a half an hour away. It's in a quiet neighborhood, part of a good school catchment area. Okay, your kids can go to a good school, and has a backyard planted with orange, apple, and lemon trees. Love that. There are 3.5 bedrooms. I thought they said 6 bedrooms. Their story's changing. There are 3.5 bedrooms, a swimming pool, a luxury spa, garage parking for 1 car, solar panels, and air conditioning throughout. It also has a big patio that is just perfect for entertaining. Oh, and a place you can cook up addictive illegal drugs. Yeah. Great opportunity to own a large home on a 6,000 square foot lot, says the listing on property website Redfin, before sheepishly noting home has inactive meth lab and meth contamination. I think they just threw that in at the end there.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, that's the beauty thing about the English language, right? Inactive is just a sense of, you know.
It just means not currently using. Inactive just means that there's stuff and meth contamination. So that means that everything is still there, but it's just not currently brewing meth as we speak.
Yeah, all the ingredients are still here. I love it.
The home has not been cleared of contamination and will be transferred to the new buyer in its current state. Okay, now, the audacity to put something for sale at $1.55 million and being like, you're going to have to deal with the meth.
It's a fixer-upper.
A listing on Zillow notes the property seller increased the price by $125,000 in October.
Hey, once you find out there's a lab in here, be like, hey, there's some high quality equipment down there. You got some beakers and shit.
The San Jose home's previous owner was 36-year-old Peter Karasev, the Los Angeles Times reported, who was arrested in March on suspicion of attacking electricity transformers. I feel like that's not what you should get him for, guys.
No shit. You know the best thing about Peter Karasev, like you're like like he just lost everything, his home included, so that when you buy his house, he shows up. The lab better still be intact.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're getting... Because this is clearly being sold without his consent, and he certainly did not realize that this property was worth $1.55 million.
The problem is and like if he's just attacking electrical things, like it's not like he's going for like a substantial amount of time.
Exactly, that's the thing. It's like they need to put him away.
Yeah, you're gonna fix up his home. 3 years later, he's gonna come out as soon as your dream home is completely remodeled and rebuilt.
Yeah, this comes with a significant liability. According to police, the investigation into Karasev began on January 5th when officers with the San Jose Police Department responded to a report of an exploded transformer at 3:16 a.m. local time. Windows were broken at a dental office nearest the transformer. Officers believe it was just a malfunction, but later in the day were summoned back to the scene when evidence of an explosive device was located. You thought the windows just broke on their own?
What kind of fucking transformer explosions are you guys dealing with?
Video surveillance reviewed by investigators and officers showed a person, later identified as Karasev, approaching the area on a bicycle while wearing a backpack. The footage showed Karasev placing the backpack at the bottom of the transformer box, appeared to use an ignition source, and then get back on the bicycle and ride off. They have evidence of this guy placing a backpack on the ground and using an ignition source to light it up.
Pretty damning evidence, my friend. Yeah, sorry, PD. You're going to have to do some time.
Yeah, moments later, the backpack and transformer exploded. The transformer appeared to burn for several minutes before causing a large explosion. PG&E employees...
It's power, gas, and electrical.
Oh, okay.
It's not a California thing.
Then told police that a similar incident had occurred on December 8th when the company was alerted to a power outage at around 4 a.m. That incident was also believed to be a malfunction, but detectives found very similar details and similar visual residue at both scenes, according to San Jose Bomb Squad. The investigation soon led to Karasev. Police identified him using cell phone information. As well as the meth lab, police searching his home also found a weapons stockpile, including guns and homemade liquid explosive, multiple energetic homemade destruction devices. If there's one thing I know about a guy
that's running around town blowing up municipal
He's got a
electrical
stockpile.
boxes, he has a cache of weapons.
He's not concerned about running out anytime soon.
No.
So the meth lab really is the least of your concerns here. Karasev, who the paper said lived there with his wife and 3 young children, had been hit with a raft of charges. That's actually very sad, including possession of a destructive device, igniting a destructive device, and child endangerment. Okay, so he's going away for a while.
What if this was like an easy bake? Like, what if this is the kids' meth lab and nobody's saying it, and Peter's just taking the heat for his son?
He was indicted by a federal criminal grand jury on October 9th. Okay, so for those who don't mind taking on a bit of a project, the $1.55 million price tag makes the house good value.
I actually got friends that are shopping for homes in that general area.
I mean, like, definitely in California, it's similar to the situation in BC. A house for under $1 million is kind of impossible to find these days.
Yeah,
and so this is actually relatively cheap.
Seems pretty reasonable.
But if you zoom out and think about how much money that is,
there's other problems, sure.
Yeah. If we ever have $1.55 million to spend on a house, I'm not going to take the one with a meth lab.
No, maybe not. You're going to take the one that will have our meth lab. We want to build it together.
Yeah, you want to build your own.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where the magic is.
You don't know if they're being sanitary, doing the proper the proper treatment.
No, we don't. We're just going to take a cat break there for a second?
Yeah, look at her.
Oh, yeah, so I'm looking at her. I'm trying to look at the people. We're talking to the people.
But
at 1 hour.
But yeah, okay. I'll hold off further commentary. Okay. Well, we'll wrap it up now because there's one more story, but that can go into next week.
Yeah.
So we have a great album
That we do.
today. It is Flatliners, Inviting Light. I believe it came out in 2017.
I would agree with that.
I love this album because this was the first Flatliners album that I listened to. And it was, I want to say it was December. It was like right after we graduated from BFS, and I think you had gone to a Flatliners concert. And I wanted to like see what all the fuss was about. Because
really?
you were saying it was your favorite band.
Yeah.
And so this was the last album they had put out. So I listened to the album, and it's kind of, which is funny because it is kind of like the perfect Flatliners album for me.
It is.
Because it was kind of right when they were making that crossover into more like rock, like punk, rock punk than punk rock.
I would, yeah,
you know?
yeah. However you want to call it,
You
it's
know what I
definitely,
mean?
it's definitely a lot. It's a lot lighter, and
Melodic,
I think that
more melodic, I would say, which is what I am more drawn to.
Yeah, and I think that you kind of, I was definitely even stating my opinion of this record at the time, being that when I found this band, I, being like an Operation Ivy fan and stuff like that, like a ska core, Ellen, there's definitely differences here from. Like the Destroy to Create stuff, from like the early Fat Record stuff, like all the way through. And I think that you can track the progression of this band in a very cool way. And I think that punk rockers are notorious for being really shitty about that transition as it goes. Like AFI is a great example because I feel like we have our thing, and then the band is growing and becoming doing whatever they want to do musically and creatively. And I think like it leaves a lot of like fans feeling like alienated or whatever for whatever weird reason, like the band is going to go on further and we're going to kind of stay behind. But I do have to change my opinion on that because like on the other hand, we're like AFI, like the sound that they have now is not necessarily for me, and I understand that, like, and I'm okay with that. But when the Flatliners were starting to go in that similar direction, I was like, wait a minute, like I took that one a lot more of a hit because there's something about this band that's so personal to me, like that we're kind of like the same age, and I found them like I was in Kelowna when I saw them for the first time, maybe 20
Canadian,
people, 25
so it feels
people.
A bit more,
exactly, right? So to watch
gotta have a bit more affinity for Canadian bands.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, when you see a band go from like playing a small room to 20 people to last night we're like sold out a massive club in Montreal, this beautiful fucking room, Club Soda. It was like so cool. You know what I mean? To see like that Commodore sized space, so rad. And then so to see songs from this album weave perfectly into what I described as the perfect Flatliners live set was like, well, all right. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see over like a period of time like these songs kind of grow on what you might consider like an old head or something like that, which was very cool to see. Yeah,
and so we went and saw them on Friday. They were doing their holiday melee in Ottawa and Montreal and Toronto, so we got to see them come through Montreal, and it was such a fun concert. And so I thought it was fitting to recommend this album.
Yes, and to Wilhelm scream and gob and just listen to all good music that makes you happy. But the Flatliners, just proving again why they are, I don't know, probably one of the best bands to do it. You know what I mean? It's cool to see like that. I have a group of guys that have kind of been around for so long and is still kind of like relatively so young. You don't realize that the band's like fucking almost like 20 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Like really, really impressive and cool.
Yeah.
I was very glad that I got to share that evening with you. Got a mosh, fucking met some friends, and you know what I mean. And got all drunk in a strange city. And I think what better soundtrack for that than the Flatliners.
Yeah. Well,
Flatliners. Flats.
I think that's all we have for you today.
Except
we
for our beads in our butt. We got beads in our butt.
Beads in our butt and semen in our water.
Aww.
All right.
Peace.